OKC just beat the Spurs in Game 2 to tie their series 1-1. OKC just saved their series because if they lost tonight, this entire thing was about to become the Victor Wembanyama Best in the World coronation tour. And honestly, after Game 1, it already felt like it was happening. 41 points, 22 rebounds, one of the greatest defensive playoff games I've seen in my life, dropped 41 and was better on the defensive side of the ball. Barely makes any logical sense. Like seriously, OKC could not touch the rim with Wemby on the floor. They had 6 made shots at the rim with Wemby in the game, and Wemby played 49 minutes. Everything looked impossible, every drive looked dead, and the scary part, Wemby didn't even look overwhelmed by the moment. He looked comfortable, like the Western Conference Finals belonged to him already. And after that game, people were ready to call him the best player in basketball because while Wemby looked like an alien in Game 1, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander looked human. 7 for 23, missed shots he normally makes. Couldn't get downhill consistently with Wemby down there, couldn't control the game. And for Shai specifically, that mattered because this series is bigger than basketball now. This is legacy stuff. This is best player in the world stuff. This is a rivalry that might define the next decade of basketball. The Spurs and Thunder genuinely feel like the next 2 future dynasties of the NBA that might split the next 6-7 championships all between those 2 teams. This series already feels like the de facto real NBA Finals. Whoever comes out of this matchup should honestly just spank whoever comes out of the East. But tonight, Shai responded exactly how an MVP is supposed to respond, and that's why this series just became legendary, because lesser players mentally collapse after a Game 1 like that. Imagine getting embarrassed on the bigger stage while the guy across from you is getting called the future GOAT. Most players would crumble in that instance, but Shai just punched back, and he had to, because there's a real conversation now about his playoff scoring. Regular season Shai, I genuinely think he's near the best regular season scorer we've seen. Back-to-back MVP, most consecutive 20-point games ever in the regular season, near automatic offensively. Regular season Shai has peaked higher than Kobe did in the regular season, higher than a Dwayne Wade did in my opinion. But the playoffs, that's where things do get uncomfortable because every year the drop is noticeable, and that matters when it matters most in the playoffs, when people start putting you in these all-time kind of conversations. And a mid-range heavy scorer like a Shai should really be translating beautifully to playoff basketball. You would think Shai would translate really well, but when the defense tightens up and when the physicality increases, elite defenders start loading up on him, he hasn't consistently looked like the same guy. Against this Spurs defense, it's even harder because you've got elite perimeter defenders hounding him, and then Wemby waiting at the rim behind them. That's basketball hell. I don't think he can give you as impactful as what Wemby did in Game 1, an efficient 40, while his defense was more impactful that game when he dropped 40. Logically, doesn't make any sense. Wemby's ceiling is just different. It's GOAT level ceiling stuff, but Shai's pathway in this rivalry is consistently control, shot making, relentless offensive pressure every single night. And tonight, he reminded everybody why he's still the MVP. Because if OKC goes down 0-2, the conversation changes fast. People start saying Wemby's already passed him even more than they were saying after Game 1. People start saying the Spurs dynasty is already started. People start questioning whether Shai's playoff drop is ever going to change. Instead, Thunder responded, the series is tied, and suddenly this rivalry feels even bigger than it already did. And honestly, this genuinely feels like the beginning of basketball's next all-time rivalry. Game 1 felt like Wemby stole the league, Game 2 felt like Shai took it back, and now the NBA officially belongs to these two.